Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the classic world of darkness. We're all friends, we're here to have fun, but our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. We've talked at our table about safety, comfort, and consent both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect, we're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same, so listener discretion is advised. Now, let's walk the Path of Night.
Last time on Path of Night, the coterie arrives in Boston. They meet up with Scourge Sullivan, learn the lay of the land, and make arrangements for a safe haven. The group plans strategy to navigate the eccentricities of the prince and his redcoats. During the day, Neil awakens to the scent of smoke. Neil, as the group of you rest, you find yourself very suddenly jerked awake by the power of your blood magic. And already you can smell smoke in your nostrils and this soft orangey flickering light from somewhere else in the apartment.
Neil pulls himself out of the bathtub and goes to go out into the main room, sort of panic, and starts yelling, everybody up, there's a fire.
You yell to alarm everyone, and as you kind of look into that main area, the door to the apartment has been opened and is still somewhat ajar, and the flames seem to be kind of coming from there, and they are very rapidly clinging up along the walls, and smoke starting to billow up and block the ceiling. Whatever accelerant they're using is a very, very fast accelerant. As you yell for everyone to wake up, I need everyone else at the table to make a humanity roll. Again, at difficulty 8. Neil, this is your first round of resisting the day.
Am I aware of any, extinguishers or anything that could help fight a fire, or do we need to get the fuck out of here? What's the day? We can't go anywhere.
Is there a basement?
Don't know.
Can I ask you 2 questions on the humanity roll? We can spend willpower, you said?
Yes.
Ones detract.
Ones will subtract from success.
10s do not explode, correct?
Correct.
All right, I will spend a willpower.
I am also spending a willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Johnny has 4 successes.
Wynn has 2.
1 success.
Counting the willpower.
Counting the willpower.
Miles
Good
has
spend.
2.
So this concludes the first round of Day Raid. So we're going to go ahead and start with the second round. You guys are going to have a little bit of time to dialogue, but as far as physically acting, each of you can do one thing unless you're expending blood for celerity. Please remember that all of your dice pools are capped by your humanity score. So we're going to cut to RP, and then someone's just going to raise your hand, and I'm going to pause. If anyone raises their hand, I'm going to pause RP to accept their action. Understood?
Lex, a question. You said the fire seems to be coming from the front door area, outside?
That seems to be where the fire had initially started. So the closer you are to the front door, the closer you are to the actual fire itself.
Okay.
For the apartment, there is a fire escape, and there's a door.
sun.
You guys are up on the second floor. The top of this round, this is when I am going to need a courage check from everyone. The difficulty of a courage check while trapped inside of a burning location is 9.
Boy. I will spend a willpower on this, too.
I am
Yep,
also
spending.
spending a willpower. on
Neil
this.
is not a brave man.
I'm not.
I've been there, buddy. That's how I frenzied.
0 successes.
2 successes.
3 successes.
2 successes.
With a willpower spend, I have 1 success.
Unless Iron Will gives me any bonuses to my difficulty.
It does not. Okay. As everyone starts to, eyes open, Johnny is very close to the fire. And at this point, his clothes are already starting to smoke. And as he wakes up, his fangs are bared, and the beast takes over, attempting to get him out of the area. The group of you immediately recognize that he has entered the Red Fear, Rotrek.
Somebody stop Johnny from trying to go outside. I'll try and take care of the fire. Can someone break a sink open or break open some pipes or something?
Yes.
I'll get Johnny.
How many floors are in this place? We're on the second. How many total?
4.
And the fire seems to be coming from the hallway, but is it below? Do we know anything else about it other than it's from in the hallway so far?
You may roll investigation for this round if that's what you want to do.
Okay.
After saying, hey, fuck up the pipes and stuff, and sort of assuming that we can't go anywhere, Neil freaks out, and you said the fire seemed to be coming from like the door frame and maybe towards like the outside. And Neil immediately sort of backs away from the fire, freaked out, and then closes his eyes. And I'm going to attempt to make it rain heavily on the building.
So you're going to make it rain outside?
Yeah, to try and soak the area.
Neil, why don't you go ahead and give me a roll for your weather control?
Spending another willpower because I need this to go off now rather than like an hour from now. 6 successes for heavy rain.
Okay, you're the overhead that is followed by a very sudden downpour.
Wynn heads to the kitchen sink and turns both taps on in an effort to get some water going.
The sink immediately starts to spray with a pretty steady current of water.
And then she starts to try and yank the faucet to get a good gush going.
What's your strength score? Strength
4.
plus potence? Okay. With strength 4, you are sufficiently strong to tear it open and start kind of getting water like sprinkling over the kitchen.
Wynn also soaks herself in the water.
Understood?
You hear this rasping bass howl, almost hiss, arise out of Johnny. It's a noise unlike you've ever heard him make before. And you catch a glimpse of him outside in the main room. His muscles and veins are constricted and pumping vitae. He is definitely in the midst of a fox frenzy.
Acting on instinct, hearing the awful noises that Johnny is making, Britta tries out something that she's not certain how to use. She starts trying to summon him. She calls his name.
Are you trying to do 2 things at once? Summon him to you and talk him down?
That is my ideal, to summon him and talk him down.
Okay. So you're going to roll 3 dice to summon and 3 dice to talk him down. You're looking at div 5.
And I have 3 successes.
Johnny, in the midst of your monstrous reaction to the fire, the frenzied Johnny is drawn first to the room. He does not open doors. He simply goes right through it. So first the summon happens.
Yeah.
He goes to you. You're going to make your roll, and then Johnny's going to take all of his celerity actions.
All right. So Britta's voice calls you back into the room and towards where she was staying. Johnny, you put me out before when we were fighting. I know that you can face fire. You're brave enough for this. You can come back.
Now you make the charisma leadership roll.
There are 2 successes.
Johnny, give me a self-control roll. Unfortunately, you are a Bruja, so this is going to be at difficulty 7.
3 successes. Johnny's eyes, which his pupils seem to be in a kind of a constant state of vibration when he first comes into the room, suddenly stop shaking, and he focuses very clearly on you.
Britta has her hand on where the wounds were, the ones that have healed so far, as if really trying to show him that he's the one that saved her.
He reaches out a hand and kind of just grips her on the shoulder really quick and nods.
She nods back.
Johnny, you've got an action.
The fire's in the main room, right?
Yes.
And to be clear, I only had that 1 success on 1 action for being awake.
Yeah, this is it. This is Britta.
Power down.
Johnny will rush back into the main area and head to the kitchen where Wynn is, and he's going to use his celerity to smash in through the drywall, grab some pipes, and rip them out. Because my dice pool may be capped to do that, but I can still spend blood for potence and just get auto successes. Correct?
There's actually no roll. It's a feat of strength. So what that means is your strength plus potence is compared to the chart. And if you are strong enough, you simply do it. If you are not strong enough, you have to make a willpower roll at difficulty 9. So what is your strength plus potence?
Being sleepy still means you can lift a truck.
Strength plus potence is 8.
Okay, yeah. So
I'm sorry, you failed.
Johnny rushes right up to Wynn, right next to her, seemingly in control of himself. plunges his fist into the drywall and comes back with a torn pipe and water that's spraying all over the place. The two of you have the kitchen area very quickly getting doused with a great deal of water.
Gonna have to show me that trick at some point, Johnny.
You got it. Maybe not tonight, though.
Maybe not.
I'm going to get up and move towards the main room to not investigate, but look at the fire as best I can. And then I have spent a celerity, so if I determine that I can do anything, I will. If not, I'm probably going to retreat towards the water.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me a perception roll? Your difficulty 7.
It'd be difficulty 8 because I'm probably not wearing my glasses.
Yep.
That's not a botch, but not a success.
All right. So the doorway is on fire.
It's definitely on fire. So with my keen investigation abilities, I have determined that the front area is on fire, and I've decided to retreat to the kitchen where the water is.
When Miles runs in to the room, Neil is standing there like, Miles, if I can get the fire away from the door, I need you to close it. I need somebody to close it.
All right, I will stop my progression back to the kitchen and be prepared to close said door.
That ends round 2. Any PCs who only had one success will now fall asleep, collapsing right where they were.
So once Britta manages to get Johnny functional once more, the overbearing urge towards sleep catches up with her, and she starts stepping forward to try to follow him out, and finds herself stepping down onto one knee, and then finding the floor to be a very comfortable place to be, curling up and falling asleep.
Johnny, for a moment you hear Britta right behind you, and then you don't. We will begin round 3.
I don't think I'm gonna stay conscious a whole lot longer here, but somebody needs to call the fire department or something and tell them this is a false alarm, don't come. Otherwise, once we're all unconscious, we're gonna have a bunch of people trying to very helpfully carry us out of here. I think I can get rid of the fire. I just, I can't do much past that.
Question: this building, the particular part of it we're in, because it's an apartment building, right?
Yes.
Are there anybody living in this building, or is this whole building property of the domain and abandoned?
Don't know for sure. You definitely know that downstairs there's a restaurant, so it is at least the first floor sees use.
So Johnny is now that he has the pipe trip out of the wall, he's really going to start trying to angle them to actually put out some of the flames that are crawling up the walls.
Why don't you give me a strength plus athletics roll? Your difficulty is 7. Your dice pool maximum is equal to your humanity.
No successes.
You wrench the pipe around and hear kink and come up with a chunk of the pipe that you needed to be able to redirect. Neil?
Standing in the front, now that there's water spraying from busted pipes and broken faucets and downpouring outside. Okay, is everybody with me here?
Doing our best, man.
Because if this doesn't work, somebody just drag me back into the bathroom. It's the safest place in a fire. Now that Wynn and Johnny have just flooded the kitchen with their actions, Neil concentrates. It's like, oh, please let this work. I haven't. Oh, please let this work. And pushes his hands forward and will spend a blood and channel his Duran key to control the water and just send like streams of it from the kitchen floor and all the flooding to the water that's licking up the wall, or to the fire that's licking up the walls.
Go ahead and give me a roll for your path. Remember that your dice pool, again, is capped.
It is currently capped. And because we really need to get this water out, I'm about to go unconscious, I will spend a willpower for this.
Okay.
With the willpower, that's 5 successes.
With 5 successes, most of the flames are actually put out. And it looks like how quickly the fire itself is going to expand through the apartment has been greatly reduced, buying the coterie some time.
Celerity, so I go and close the door and try to come back.
You're going to the area that there are still some flames. I need a courage check.
Sure.
Difficulty 7 to approach.
Let's go with a willpower on that. Seems important. Nope, not happening.
Okay. Miles tries to work up the conviction, but the fire goes against every sense of self-preservation that he has, and he finds himself unable to advance.
Seeing that Miles is stricken and unable to get the door shut, Wynn charges over to try and finish the job.
Courage roll, Div 7.
Willpower. 2 successes.
Okay, you find yourself able to head over, and you close the door.
And she retreats back into the safety of the water.
Does anyone still have celerity actions remaining?
Johnny does. There are still some flames kicking around.
Yes.
He will rip open the cabinet under the sink and reach to hopefully find one of either two things, either a bucket or maybe a small little fire extinguisher.
There is no fire extinguisher. There is a bucket.
Perfect. So Johnny will grab that bucket and basically start trying to scoop up some of the water. Maybe, he'll grab some of the streams that are coming out of the air that aren't necessarily going towards the fire, but he'll use the fact that the water has made itself very easily scooped out of the air to grab a bucket full of it and start splashing it towards the flames that are still raging uncontrolled.
You're going to begin an extended roll with you.
Absolutely.
I need a dexterity plus athletics roll. The difficulty on this roll is 6. Again, your dice pool is capped at humanity.
Johnny's swift. Would that count towards getting this done in a timely fashion?
For
Dexterity?
Splashing the walls, yes, but it will not apply to the actual filling.
Gotcha. All right. So so on this particular roll, it's not going to help out?
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. So then 4 successes.
Okay. With 4 successes, you kind of get the pipe bent around, and you take a ton of steps, little quick motions, rather, to very quickly start getting water into the bucket. Does anyone have any remaining celerity actions?
Other than retreating, did Neil make it back to the... He made it to the bathroom, right?
At the end of this round, this is round 3 for Neil because I got up a round before everybody else. I will
Right.
be collapsing.
Yeah, he does not make it to the bathroom. So, Miles, do you have anything you wanted to do?
Right, I have my, celerity action because I failed to make it to the
Right.
door. So I will come back and I will try to get myself and Neil into the kitchen of water. And that's going to be the end of it for me, too, because that is my round 2.
So at the end of round 3 of the Haven raid, those of you who collapse, please describe doing so. We'll start with Neil.
Neil, with his arms outstretched, just directing these thaumaturgical streams of water as Miles gets to him, just suddenly, his arms drop by his sides, and he just collapses in a very sleepy pile, going as corpse-like as any vampire when they sleep, and is no longer aware of the world around him.
Doing a scoop drag as he comes back towards the kitchen. He kind of drags them both in there, and then kind of just collapses and falls to his own undeath slumber. Probably face down.
Blam.
Yep.
As Miles and Neil come back to the kitchen, Wynn is still dragging herself back there and manages to make it to a puddle before slumping. Her feet just get so heavy, and she can't really lift her legs to step anymore, and she just goes to one knee, then the other, then to her side, then flops onto her side, unconscious and unaware.
Oh boy, and then there was Johnny.
Thank God Britta got you back
And
around.
there was Johnny. Johnny,
Yeah.
start of round 4. Your coterie is down. There's still some flames licking. A very slow expanse of the fire kind of begins to encroach and seep into the little haven that's been provided to you here in Boston. And it's just you versus the fire. What is your action?
All right, now that I have a bucket filled with some water, I'm going to use that to try and put out the main bits of blaze so that this can finally be put out. So we're looking at dexterity athletics
Yes,
and swift supplies here, right?
correct.
4 successes.
With 4 successes, you splash the water up against the wall and put out the last of it. Do you have any celerity actions?
I
this round?
do.
What do you plan to do?
Johnny will use his first celerity action to go over the door and basically head out into the hallway and kind of just get a quick sense of what's outside.
You open the door to the hallway inside, and there you see a trio of guys who are in trench coats. They have bandanas covering their mouths. and they are armed with knives and relatively minor weapons. But it's definitely 3 guys, and they look very surprised to see you.
Johnny has a second celerity action. He will obliterate the first one with a big, meaty punch to the face.
Give me a roll.
2 successes.
All right. 1 die carries over, and go ahead and give me damage.
Is this limited by my humanity?
No.
Pretty sure you can still spend opponents for auto damage too.
Oh, I can.
Just wanted to remind you because I know leaving things up to the dice isn't always the best for you.
Do my powerful arms assist me in doing extra
yes.
successive damage? So we're looking at 4 on the dice plus 4 from the potence. That is 8 levels of damage.
Punch this man's head clean off.
Well, it's only bashing, right?
Still.
That's one of the things I like
Yeah,
about.
these are.
I'm gonna get everybody breakfast.
Okay. He will take 8 levels of bashing damage. 1 level will roll around into lethal damage as you smash his jaw in. The person ragdolls and, after being sent a few feet away, just hits the ground, twitching and seemingly in the midst of a seizure. Do you have any other celerity actions?
I do not.
The last thing you see is the 2 remaining men looking between each other, unsure of what to do.
Oh no, I still have another round. I had
Oh.
I had 4 successes to stay awake.
Never mind.
Yeah, Johnny had 4 successes and was a round after I got up.
The last thing he sees before he goes red.
The last thing Johnny sees before he sees another man's head explode.
Yeah.
Listen, I knew
Okay.
I had to get back in this fight.
I mean, yes.
Okay. This means that we will begin what is going to be the final round of this Haven raid. But I actually need you to roll initiative on this one.
Sure.
And they're going to roll an initiative as well. Johnny, what is your initiative?
10.
So initiative is going to go Assailant A, Johnny, Assailant B. Assailant A is going to, in a bit of a panic, attempt to stab Johnny. He has 2 successes to hit.
Okay.
He is dealing 4 levels of lethal damage.
So Johnny's skin tightens like Wynn has been teaching him. And I imagine he still has his... Oh no, he took his leather jacket off. That's right, to use as a pillow. So... 0 successes.
Okay. Johnny will take 4 levels of lethal damage. I need you to roll a self-control check at difficulty 8.
Self-control.
Yes.
1 success.
That was so scary.
Yep.
I mean, for Johnny, these 2 guys would be dead.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be fine. I just don't know what's going to happen to Johnny afterwards.
With my first action, I will split to grab the guy that stabbed me and bite him.
Roll it.
I'm going to spend a willpower to grab him.
Yep.
So 4 successes to grab him.
Yep. He is grabbed and his feet dangle above the floor. Bite attacks right difficulty 5.
Fantastic.
And they deal strength plus 1 ag.
I'll spend another willpower to make sure this happens. 3 successes.
2 dice carry over. You're rolling strength plus 3 dice of aggravated damage.
Can I gain Vitae from this?
You may choose to feed instead, which means you may take up to 3 blood, and he will take 3 levels of damage.
I will do that because I need the blood.
Understood. He will submit to the kiss.
That's how Bruja feed.
Can I then spend a blood to heal a point of damage?
It takes an action to do so. So you can use one of your celerity actions to pause and
Fair enough.
heal. The other guy is going to attempt to stab you.
Sure.
He has 3 successes on the attack roll. Actually, 4 successes on the attack roll. 3 carry over. Strength. Knife die. He is 3 levels of lethal damage coming at you.
All right. I will try to soak. I soak 2 of those. I will take a single point of damage.
Okay. He stabs furiously at your back in hopes of accomplishing something, but does not seem to.
Celerity actions.
From here on out, it's all you.
My first celerity action, I will continue to drink 3 more levels of damage to him.
Okay. His eyes flutter.
Do I taste anything interesting about this blood?
No, right now he tastes like a guy who's going to fucking die in the next couple seconds. There doesn't seem to be anything unusual going on. It's certainly not like the lupine.
All right, so that's action 1. Action 2, is going to be to grab his friend. So I drop him and then grab his buddy.
Okay.
Two successes, 3 of swift counts.
Swift counts, so 3 successes.
And then my final celerity action will be to bite and tear his throat out.
Okay, give me a Dex or Sprawl, difficulty 5.
4 successes.
3 will roll over into damage. You are rolling strength plus 4 dice of aggravated damage.
Potence to just auto go through.
It's so not okay.
Well, my powerful arms doesn't count for those 10s.
Unfortunately, no.
That's 10 aggravated damage.
I believe you Kool-Aid manned him.
You bite at his throat with a full chunk of his flesh in your mouth. The last thing you see, for real this time, is his head kind of dangling, only attached by skin to the rest of his body, as he slumps, completely dead. Blood is all over the walls, and you drop to your knees, satiated from the violence that you just unleashed on your enemies.
Well, the good news is that we're safe now. The bad news is that if somebody happens to be walking down this hallway, they'll find a bloodbath. But positive side of that is all the people in the hallway are dead, so maybe they'll just take me to the morgue.
I mean, you might still have...
I mean, you do have lots of knife wounds.
I wasn't sure if you had any movement left over, because you might be able to just, like, get
Duck
into
back
the...
inside.
Unfortunately, celerity actions, you only can take one. You can't really split them.
Right.
So I don't think I can actually make it back inside.
You can hit people and move on
Yeah?
celerity actions, yeah.
Oh.
So you could probably kill the last guy inside the apartment.
I was going to say, in that case, if I could, while I'm making these moves, if I could toss people towards or through the door and bring this violence inside and try and slump against the door with my last final breath, that would be ideal.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that. I do need a humanity check.
That's fair.
Oh
I need
boy.
a conscience roll at difficulty 8.
0 successes.
What's your humanity score now?
5.
All right.
That's my first point of humanity lost throughout this campaign.
Same here.
Yes, me
Yeah.
too.
For the first time in your own life, you actually feel like these fuckers had it coming.
When everybody finally does manage to wait. Oh, actually, these guys, one of them is just knocked unconscious. I mean, he's going to take a while to heal all of that bashing. He's probably not going to be getting out of here very easily.
Yeah.
Because I punched him so hard I did lethal. The other guy is drained almost completely of blood, so he's not going.
The guy who got knocked out is going to take a few weeks to wake up.
A few weeks.
And he's in the best shape.
The blood guy, he's done. Like,
Yeah.
that's...
But guy's done. Headless guy, also kind of fucked. Beyond the bloody inferno of a Haven raid, the coterie rests peacefully. Britta, you are among the first to awaken, and immediately thoughts of your last moments with Johnny come to your mind. At least so far it seems that you've survived the night, but you're alone in the room.
Britta gets up from the floor, looking around, trying to see if there's any hint of damage. But the room looks pretty normal, so she bursts out into the main room.
What you find in the main area is anything but normal. Around the doorway that leads out of the apartment, there are scorch marks everywhere, but though the fire seems to have been contained. What you don't expect, or didn't expect, was the blood and gore that fills that little pathway leading to the door out of the apartment. And slumped with his back to the door, head against the heavy, like, metal front door, is a Johnny that is caked in dried blood. His shirt is completely drenched and red, and it's not just blood, but pieces of people clinging to him. And beside him is a trio of people you've never seen before. All of them in varying degrees of bad condition, ranging from a smashed jaw to just about completely decapitated and resting against what was once a white wall. Johnny seems to rest peacefully, unmoving, eyes closed as if he was a corpse among them.
Can I tell that he's not in torpor, or does the blood coating him make it difficult to see?
He is clearly not in torpor.
Okay. Britta's eyes will fall onto all of that gore, and there's a moment where she instinctually steps back, but she collects herself and forces herself to walk forwards, and she approaches, kneels down very carefully by Johnny, trying to see what's the damage to him, if he's all right. She can tell that he's not in torpor. That was her first thought. But as she's looking to these bodies beside him, she can't help but feel there's that very human instinct to check whether or not all of the blood covering him is his or not. There's that sickening realization that they've passed that point of humanity, and that even if he were very hurt, that's not how vampire blood works. And so she sees these stab wounds in him.
I think Johnny actually still might even have the knives sticking in him.
Are they?
At least one.
Her hand sort of goes right by the knife handle. There's that instinct of, should it be left in or should it be taken out? But she pulls her hand back and sits back a little bit to give him some room, looking away and kind of just waiting for him to get up.
In the just completely flooded kitchen, Neil sort of stirs, sloshing the water around himself, gets up slowly and looks around, a little surprised that he's still alive. Looks down at Wynn and Miles nearby to him, both of whom are asleep, although Miles is starting to stir too.
I think it's that point you realize that the water you've sloshed awake in is actually has the taste of blood in it. There was enough blood seeping out that it's probably mixed together.
The guy that lost his head has probably leaked.
Neil kind of looks confused and stumbles out into the main room, taking in all the details and just looking at Britta by Johnny. Oh my God, what happened?
It looks like... And she trails off. Her eyes go back to Johnny, and she tries to think of a way to vocalize it, but all that really comes out is, it looks like these were the guys that started it.
God, I hope so, he says, looking at the, decapitated corpse.
Miles finally starts getting up off the ground and sighs loudly to find himself in a puddle of water. Gets up, goes back to his room, grabs his glasses so he can actually see with some sort of clarity, and then comes back into the main room where it accounts for everybody, and it's like, oh, that looks like it was unsuccessful.
The decapitated person, it does not look like it was like a knife or a sword. It looks like his head was chewed off.
Did you check them for ID or anything like that yet? And
No.
are any of them still alive?
I just got up. I don't know.
I can do it. And Britta, her hands are probably shaking a little bit as she starts, unfortunately, with the headless man, because that's where her eyes fell when Miles started talking about the unconscious people.
So Johnny's got a bunch of blood, but covering his face and all down the front of him and everything like that. Yeah, he'll probably be fine.
And I will check over for ID.
They do not seem to have carried any personal identification or anything of the sort.
Britta checks thoroughly, but she has no success, and as she pulls her hands away, she does that useless motion of trying to wipe them against each other, and just finds that they're becoming more and more red. So she stands and she tries to...
There's plenty of water in the kitchen at this point. Let's check on Wynn, but I think we all came out of this okay.
What's the... Should we call the Scourge or something? What's the protocol here? I don't really know.
Yeah, we probably should. This is compromised, and he brought us here. I mean, that's a little suspicious of itself, but...
Well, it's not hard to find people.
If nothing else, we need to let him know that we need to go somewhere else, or if we can secure our own place, because...
I will let you guys deal with that. I'm not...
Well, we also need to check and make sure that the flooding hasn't alerted the people below us, or what the deal is with that.
I don't suppose anybody managed to look at a watch or something when we woke up.
I mean, I don't
I
particularly...
have no idea how long it's been.
I mean, I can check my watch.
No, I mean, like, from when we woke up to now.
Miles successfully determines what time it is.
Yes.
I meant, like, to do... Okay, never mind.
I don't particularly care about the people downstairs at this point. We're not staying, and I don't...
Well,
If there's anybody who comes asking questions, we can get out of here pretty easily.
I guess. I just don't want to... You don't want to make a mess in somebody else's city.
Britta nods. She's trying to wash her hands off
Meh.
in one of the bloody puddles. It's not working particularly well, but
Not
she can get
meh.
it eventually.
The Scourge can either take care of it or leave it either way at this
Okay,
point.
All right, that's fine. Do we know who did... We don't know who sent these people.
It looks like one of them... Actually, they both might be alive.
Huh. Yeah, we definitely need to call the city then.
Right. Let's get our stuff together because...
Well, we gotta wait for Johnny and Wynn to get up anyways.
Wynn kind of stirs, finding herself in a puddle, and it's not the worst way she's ever woken up. You know, sticky and damp and reeking slightly of blood. But this is not the best. She finds that because she fell asleep in a giant puddle that has become diluted with blood, there's a pink tinge to her hair and the side of her face that was in the puddle. And she kind of pushes herself upright and looks around. What the fuck did I miss?
We're, trying to piece that together.
Oh, Jesus Christ, what? Oh my God.
Is there water still spraying? Or did somebody call and get that shut off?
There is no water spraying at this point.
Okay.
The apartment does not have water.
I don't know. You okay? Is everybody okay, by the way?
I'm
Is
okay.
Does anybody hurt?
I mean, I'm still in Boston, so...
Johnny's clearly got some damage on him.
As you look back towards Johnny, you notice his eyes are now open, and he's kind of staring at you.
Britta looks back.
The bags under his eyes are a little bit more sunken. There's something just a little bit more feral about him than you remember from last night. And it's not just the fact that he's covered in blood. His features have definitely taken on just a darker aspect.
Hey, are you...
Thanks for keeping me in the fight, kid.
You're welcome, but
He
it
kind of
looks
grunts
like
in pain as he pulls the knife out and drops it on the ground.
it looks like it got to you too, the fight.
I just finished it. Everyone okay?
Are you okay?
I've had worse nights.
Man, with your track record, that means shit. Are you okay?
I fed off these goons a bit. I didn't get a chance to ask them who they were, what they wanted.
I'm not sure they would have been terribly forthcoming if you had.
Juddy's gonna reach down and continue to feed off the bodies of the three. Preferably, he'll drink the blood from those who are dead. I don't know how many of them are dead at this point.
2 of them are dead. One of them is just not conscious.
The 2 dead ones don't have much blood left.
No.
How much can he get from those 2?
One of them only had 1 pint of Vitae left available from your feeding. The other one has 2, so 3 in all.
Johnny will take that.
Britta, seeing this start to happen, I would like to roll medicine to see if any of these guys... Obviously, one is not alive, but there's a question mark above 2 of them, I think.
I mean, as you see Johnny feed...
There's no reaction.
Yeah, the 2 that he's... Exactly, the 2 that he's feeding from, they're already gone.
But I'd still like to check that last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's medicine plus...
Intelligence.
Can you see if you can wake him?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. 1 success.
With 1 success, you can determine that this person is still alive, but has been beaten so badly that it might be a long time before they wake up.
There's, I don't think there's any way that we can really get him to wake up much faster unless, I guess, supernatural healing.
I see. So Johnny punched him into the Millennium.
Yeah, he, and Britta just kind of trails off.
Lex, Wynn kind of, when she sees Johnny feeding on these 2 dead men, she instinctively looks around to see if any wraiths have formed.
No wraiths have formed. You actually are aware that sometimes, oftentimes there is no wraith.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even if there is a wraith, it can take a very long time before they can reach the point where they're able to manifest in the Shadowlands.
We're gonna have to clean up before we can move.
I'll call the Scourge.
I think that's probably our best course of action.
Yeah. When
you think he's the one who burned us?
Well, we have to inform him either way.
As everyone's talking, Neil is kind of looking around at the bodies and the blood spray and the spread of the fire and the scorch marks. And I'm going to try and just get a general idea of maybe who orchestrated this design with Eyes of Chaos.
You examine it and you become very certain that this was personal. This was not like just an event that's part of some ongoing conflict that the group of you aren't connected to. You were specifically targeted.
Neil, with his eyes wide, is just walking around looking again at like just the patterns of the blood spray and the scorch marks and the damage done to and by these individuals. And then stops and looks at the rest of the coterie and is like, this is, this was targeted at us. This is we're not like getting caught up. This is a personal attack on us as people.
Arabella, maybe?
That was my thought.
That's the guess, but...
Let's go with the whole burning people alive thing.
Kinda does.
Not sure if we tell the Scourge that, he might think that we're bringing trouble to his city.
Well, he knows trouble's here. I say we play hardball with the Scourge. The fact that he put us up and then we were attacked doesn't look good on the domain. But he is Jane's friend, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
I guess we also don't have acceptance here one way or another, so we don't really have any protection owed to us.
Do you guys notice the water's been shut off? And this place had water to start with?
Well, it makes sense. They probably just pulled the pipe. I mean, we kind of fucked up the pipes up here, and if it's leaking down into lower.
Why would they have water here to start with?
There's a restaurant operational still downstairs.
Yeah, but there's no reason to pay for that in the apartment upstairs.
Well, they're still functional without paying for it.
Sometimes you want to wash your hands or let your guests take a shower before.
I suppose that's fair.
Yeah, while Miles calls the Scourge, Britta kind of stares at the pink tinge. How about I help you clean that up?
Yeah, that's probably a smart move.
Britta has makeup wipes as she brought a makeup kit.
Johnny kind of nods over at the guy that you were looking at. So he's still sucking air?
Yeah, he's alive.
Any of you hungry?
Not that hungry.
I think that might be too much damage to him. I mean,
I don't care.
Why not?
This guy and his friends came here to kill us in our sleep. Poked me full of holes, and we're gonna burn a lot of you.
Well, they did that, yeah, but I mean, if what Neil said was true and this was personal, we don't know these guys. They did this for someone else.
If I hit him half as hard as I think I did, he's not gonna be in any condition of any kind of reasonable life when he does wake up. His brain is probably mush.
Yeah, but I don't know if that means it's my right to take that from him.
It's not a fair fight to take it from him now.
Speaking of brain mush, Lex, here's a question. Because I just looked and it's unspecified. Do targets need to be conscious to use telepathy and pull thoughts out of their minds?
They can be asleep.
But not catatonic.
Right.
Gotcha.
They're catatonic and torpor. His mind right now is just this like fluttering wavelengths of just incoherentness.
So Neil looks at him and says, speaking of brain mush. Actually, no, never mind. Never mind. Just a thought, but he doesn't have any thoughts, so
I mean, if we can get him awake, we can get him to talk.
What
You can feed him. You can feed him a bit of blood, and maybe he can heal himself a little bit. Otherwise, I say we just drain what's left in him.
How about we could just leave him. I'm not really, look, I'm a little hungry, but I'm not like kill a guy hungry.
Agreed.
Well, what about the masquerade with him? Will he remember this, or?
I mean, the way Johnny punched his temple in, I don't know if he's going to remember anything for a little while, but I mean, that's sort of the local. I mean, that's why we need to call the Scourge. This is sort of a local.
All right, I'm on it. So I go change into my casual clothes so that I can talk on the phone.
Miles, when he's finished swapping to his more casual clothing, he returns for a phone call. Yeah.
We seem to have an issue at the place that you have left us. Somebody
You
came
gonna,
and tried to
expand upon that? Or?
Yeah, somebody tried to light us on fire and kill us in our sleep.
Have you got raided?
Unsuccessfully.
So you don't fucking still have a problem?
No. At this point, it's been taken care of. But I figured you should be informed.
Miles, there are bodies here.
All right. Who did it?
We're not sure.
Right.
We have one that's not conscious but won't wake up for a while, it seems like.
All right. I'm going to get a couple guys, head out there, clean it up. I assume all of you are all right?
So far, so good.
Anyone hurt?
A little bit.
All right. In a little while, we'll be out there. Get dressed, cleaned up. I should probably take you to see the prince, let him know what's going on.
All right. Is he going to be able to see us, or?
Yeah, his meeting's done. That was last night.
Oh. It seemed like it could last for a while.
Great. So, yeah, we'll be there, okay?
All right. We'll be here.
All right. Sit tight and try not to stir up more bullshit.
We'll
He hangs
attempt not to.
Miles, what was that about a meeting?
Yes, I guess we
Meeting
get to
done?
go meet the prince.
Neil looks down at his soaked, shitty clothes and everyone else's soaked, bloody clothes,
And then me in my fresh clothes.
and Miles in his slacks and blazer.
All right, let's all change and just. They might want the guy. Britta says, looking at Johnny, kind of trying to get a read on his attitude towards not killing this guy.
He seems a little bit short in terms of patience. It's not like he's ready to just jump at the guy's throat. It's just a little bit disconcerting.
She lets her eyes kind of linger for a second from Johnny, then on to the guy who it would be nice to feed right now, but no, she goes to change.
Yeah, gather all your gear. Looks like we won't be staying here, as we suspected. So, get ready to move out.
Johnny will go through some of the cabinets and some of the closets. Are there any towels or any kind of old linens in anywhere?
Aside from the curtains and blankets and sheets on the bed in the two bedrooms, that's about it.
Yeah, so he'll just kind of dry off with one of the blankets then. At least try and get some of the wet out of his jeans and some of the blood off his jeans. He'll ditch the bloody shirt that he was wearing, try to wipe down his skin as much as he can, and put on one of the fresh new white shirts, and put on his mercifully clean jacket. Once he's cleaned up, pops another Morley into his mouth, lights up.
Wynn goes into the bedroom to change. She doesn't have extra shoes, so unfortunately her boots are making that squelching noise again. Ugh. Though it's for less gross reasons this time. She puts on a new flannel and takes a pillowcase from the bed and uses it to dry her hair, hopefully get some of the blood out of it.
Britta is probably a little disconcerting as the first couple things are all right, where she takes the makeup wipes, makes sure to get the remainder of the blood out of Wynn's very noticeably bright hair. But afterwards, when Britta is fixing her makeup, there's something just not right about watching someone put lipstick on in this circumstance.
Neil takes his soaked sweater off, keeps the damp, tie-dye t-shirt that he was wearing underneath it on, and then puts a new sweater on top. Did not bring a change of pants or shoes, and so just leaves his black slacks on. Within a few moments, the dampness from the t-shirt leaks through the sweater, but it's better than nothing.
You may have taken the t-shirt off.
No, I want to leave it on. It makes me feel more comfortable.
All right, then. All right.
Miles, while we're talking about this and we have a couple of minutes,
mm-hmm.
Do you know when Arabella was embraced? You guys were... do you know the date?
Officially, no, but I might be able to reach out.
Okay, if you could find that out, ASAP, that would be super helpful.
Can I, text Ventru Central? Because we've talked about the Ventru have a record of all these embraces.
They
and stuff
celebrate their death days,
right.
like a birthday. So yes.
Because I knew that the other venture in the area knew who I was braced by and when, so I was wondering if I could get that same kind of information. So maybe just text, I don't know, Ventru administrative.
It's not a thing you can text.
Come on!
This is something you're going to write a letter, you're going to pen it.
Write a letter? God, get with the times, Venture.
I mean,
Are you serious?
I mean, you might be able to call and talk to Prince Roland's.
Yeah, no. I'm not... I mean, yes, I can, but...
Sooner rather than later.
Why do you need this?
Because I could find out maybe what Arabella's up to. I just need to know when she died so I can look at my star chart book.
He needs her horoscope.
Yeah.
By the way, are we healing this goon or not?
I'd leave him for the Scourge, in my opinion.
I think I'd rather have our coterie know the information he has rather than the domain.
I mean, is giving him blood really going to get him back up?
Yes.
Are you sure on that?
Yes. Right? Yeah.
I didn't think it automatically worked.
Make him a ghoul.
Does anyone have the blood to spare?
I do.
I'm a little tapped. But here's the question. We already told the Scourge about this and told the Scourge that there was one guy who was not dead. Are we going to get in trouble for just ghouling some rando in a domain we're not welcome in yet?
I'm willing to take that chance.
I know you're willing to take that chance. That did not answer my question.
I don't know. What's the protocol here?
Can I roll etiquette?
Politics.
I've got that.
Holy
A
crap,
little
I
bit.
have a dot of that.
I have a small
I
amount.
have one dot.
Well,
but
you
I'm gonna
technically
defer-
are a primogen.
Yeah.
I think that's when you bought it.
I'm deferring to Miles on this one.
What is it? Politics intelligence?
Yes.
All right. Not my strongest suit.
Malkavian domain, defeat.
Oh, because it's nonsensical.
I mean, yeah.
Something knights. Nah, botch.
You are pretty sure that you are able to ghoul someone just fine. You just have to keep the ghoul, and you need to notify the domain of the action just in case you engage in poaching.
I mean, my general knowledge of normal domain says that, yeah, would be able to if we, registered with the prince/domain afterwards.
Okay, so he's not... I mean, either way, he's going to go to the domain, right? So can we just do it afterwards, after we talk to the prince? Because I feel like asking the prince, right? So we're just notifying the prince. So
I feel like that I'm not going to get myself involved with it since the prince already hates me, just by the
okay,
depth of my birth.
that's fair.
Johnny stamps his cigarette out. He goes, I'm making an executive brouhaha decision. Pulls out his boot knife, stabs his hand, and feeds the guy a pint of blood.
Johnny, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm waking him up so we can ask him who the fuck he is and who sent us here.
I mean, Miles said it was okay.
And when I'm done, I'm gonna reclaim my blood. And this guy died before the Scourge got here.
Well,
Johnny, you're not acting right.
I'm not okay with
Guy
just
slurps on
murdering a
blood.
guy.
Some of his head wounds starting to heal. His jaw is shattered, and it mends just enough for him to drink.
Johnny pulls his hand back the second he knows the guy's moving around.
Okay.
The guy's eyes open slowly.
Johnny
and then
puts the knife inside his mouth and kind of hooks up his lip a little bit.
Johnny,
You're gonna answer some questions for my friends.
his ruined chin kind of tilts up just enough at acknowledgement of the weapon, and his eyes kind of quickly scan around the room with a look of abject terror in his expression.
If you give them answers quickly and honestly, things are gonna go well for you.
All right.
If not, he kind of just tilts his head a little bit, pulls the knife out of his mouth, and kind of backs away.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look into his eyes and start doing mesmerize. Like, you will answer all of our questions.
Yeah, as soon as Miles approaches, he closes his eyes.
Yeah.
Wake up.
What's your manipulation plus intimidation?
8.
Okay. So he's at div 7. You do not dominate him.
Okay.
But what do you say?
I start doing the whole mesmerizing. You will listen to the sound of my voice. You will answer the questions that we pose to you with the most truthful answer as fast as possible.
His tongue doesn't quite work right. And it's just the current slight shaking of his head with the eyes closed, resisting the call of your discipline.
Miles, it's okay. You can just ask the question. Just ask your questions.
Who sent you?
As Miles is asking his questions, Neil is just going to kind of stare at the guy and try and get into his head.
Roll it. F5.
3. So I will basically get like 3 decent thoughts pulled out of his head.
Who sent you?
Well, so basically the way that, like, thematically I'm looking at this is basically every time Miles is asking a question, I'm sort of picturing, like, him not answering, but obviously the thought gets called to mind, and Neil is just plucking that thought out of his brain.
He specifically does not remember.
He
tries to not think about it, which causes him to think about it, but when he tries to think about it, he finds that the thoughts are not there.
He doesn't know. It's almost like somebody took that memory out of his mind, which answers some things.
You will note that this person does not seem terribly capable of creative thought. Like there's something wrong with him mentally.
Johnny, I don't know how hard you punch this guy, but like, I mean, he's basically like a worker bee. He's got no initiative of his own.
He's been hit with dominate in multiple ways, if that's true. I mean, to be fair, Johnny may have scrambled him really badly, but
Johnny's brow furrows, and for a second you see a flash of regret, and then his gaze steals again.
Yeah, I don't think this guy has any like will of his own. He's acting on the impulse of somebody who can just take memories out of his brain and lock his thoughts away.
He's been conditioned.
What else do you want to know?
Maybe even if he's been conditioned, he could remember something that would be useful to us. Something like, I don't know.
Can he remember the 3 of them talking about this job?
He does seem to actually remember communicating about the job. He also knows that he and the other people in the job and likely others that he's like kind of quickly interact with. Again, these are not clear images.
Yeah.
They were shown pictures of specifically Miles and Johnny, and they were told to make phone calls to like on phones that they were given, and whenever they saw the group of you, and you kind of get the impression that Boston has probably 12 people just wandering Boston at night looking for signs of the group of you and calling them in.
Okay, that's disturbing.
What is?
They, so these are just people who've been sort of snatched off the street, and I don't know, a couple dozen maybe of them, more. There's like a network of them around Boston. They've been sort of walking around, every night for, it's weird. I don't know how long. I don't think he knows how long, but looking for us, specifically, Miles and Johnny. You know, network phone calls are made if, you know, apparently somebody spotted us when we came into the city. Spotted them, at least, and like they were, I mean, what was the word you used, Miles? Conditioning?
Conditioned.
They were conditioned to just make a phone call as soon as they saw either one of you. And here we are.
Or maybe an implanted suggestion, but the
Well,
conditioning still might have happened.
Okay,
Correct.
I don't...
Right, I'm just
okay.
clarifying.
Yep. I never got that far.
Right.
So there's a whole network of people around this city who were anticipating us.
And looking for specifically photos of Miles and Johnny.
It's just generally your clan that conditions people like that, right?
Tremere, too.
Ever since mine couldn't do it anymore, then yeah, the Tremere and the Ventru.
I mean, there are a lot of Tremere around here too, but along with this being maybe a more personal attack, it does seem to indicate that Arabella might be behind this.
You know, we don't have personal enemies in the city that we know of outside of Arabella.
Well, yeah, not that I'm aware of. Somebody might be in hiding here.
Well, Arabella's in
Arabella
hiding.
is.
I mean, I might have pissed off other people.
I don't doubt it, but specifically Arabella, like, you know, don't borrow trouble, right?
Right. I mean, especially if they're looking for both me and Johnny.
Is there anything else we want to know while I'm in here?
Yeah.
He's been conditioned to forget the person who gave him the work.
Yes. Just so we're all aware.
Why is he closing his eyes like that?
Well, presumably to avoid Miles looking at him.
He is terrified to meet his eyes like this, these terrible subconscious fears.
He's met our kind before.
Well, yeah, and apparently has an instinctual fear of being looking in the eyes
So
of
he was-
someone like Miles.
He was conditioned to not remember who gave him the job. Was he conditioned to not remember the person he fears the most?
While the two of them are talking, Britta will look once more and see if the guy has a cell phone on him.
He does not.
And she'll go on to check the other two.
They specifically do not.
You said that they were making calls, but none of them have their phones on them.
Yeah, if I had conditioned somebody to make calls to a network, and then they remember meeting up for the job and talking about this job, and if they had cell phones that could maybe be traced back, I'd tell them to throw them in a ditch
I
too.
only started carrying a beeper in the past couple of years. Usually, the way the Bully Boys worked, we'd get the call at whatever safe house we'd be working at, and then we'd go out and get the thing done. We wouldn't be walking around with things that could make noise while we're on a job.
So I know that I'm maybe unreliable in connecting dots to two different puzzles, but it seems pretty clear that Arabella knew that we were going to be coming for her at some point up here in Boston, and so set up a network to find us and take care of the problem. At least you two. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if
Maybe
she had
maybe ask him where his safe house is.
Roland's was
If there is a safe
has
house.
Roland's office bugged.
Let's assume if he's not carrying phones that they're operating out of some kind of safe house.
If we can find a location where we know Arabella's been in the last day or so, I can track her to wherever she is, but I need a starting location. I can't just do it out of nowhere. That's part of the reason why I was kind of hoping you could find her birthday.
I can get that information. It just depends.
Okay, and also we're going to have to go to court very soon, so
Right. You want to see if they remember some sort of meeting place or safe house.
Like you have to ask him, man.
Right. And it's like, do you have a meeting place or safe house that you meet with these other individuals?
He does not. Upon making the phone call, he received further instructions. You can definitely tell that those instructions were like implanted into his mind over the phone.
Okay.
From there, they went to the restaurant downstairs. He met with other individuals who had approached him, and he had vaguely seen them before, hadn't really ever had extended conversations. They all literally just sat quietly waiting for dawn. Sometime around noon, there was a drop-off for the gear. They accepted the gear. They went inside the apartment complex, got dressed up, and then they went to go launch their attack.
Miles, here's a question, and I know it's been a couple of years since I could dominate anybody, so you probably know better than I do. Can you do that shit over the phone?
Not typically.
Could you Manchurian candidate someone to, hear a code phrase or something over a phone, and then that would trigger something?
Yes.
Okay. Knowing that you could do that is less worrying than just being able to give instructions over the phone, because that is 100% what happened. They were just waiting. There was a package drop off. There was everything, but they called it in. They don't know where. There wasn't a meeting place. It was all over the phone.
A fully blood bonded individual will also be very susceptible to that.
Fair enough. So that's, these guys were Manchurian candidated to come find us and kill us. Well,
Sounds like
you two
Arabella
and then
style.
presumably us. It makes sense.
Throwing away tons and tons of individuals to accomplish a task. Yeah, that seems very much her
For
particular
little personal
style.
risk.
Yeah, I guess that's where we're at.
All right. While we wait for the scourge, I'll see if I can reach out. Maybe I don't have to talk to Rollins.
If she knows that we're here and has a citywide information network and is going to just maybe keep day rating us,
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later might be good. Unless anybody else has any other ideas.
You can just see Miles being like, it just never goes well every time he has to call the prince. It just never goes well. That's if he picks up.
The only thing I can think of would be making ourselves harder to spot. Maybe something like, I don't know, like motorcycle helmets.
I can keep us hidden at night, so long as you can walk like I do. But that would hide us from everybody, and we can't do that if we're going to court.
There's bound to be someone keeping a lookout by there.
But after court, if we can find a quiet place and we can go a quick refresher on how to walk without getting noticed, I can keep us at least shielded from mortal eyes.
That'll do more than nothing.
If we want to, for a little bit.
So I'll move away, and I will call Roland's office because I don't call Roland's directly.
Is it clear that you're going to call the prince?
It's clear that I'm moving away to make a call, which means it's generally something I don't want to be interrupted while doing.
But did you clarify that you are specifically talking to Roland's?
Neil did specifically say, hey, do you want to just call Roland's?
Right, and then I made a lot of faces about it, and him and Hod, and then left.
And those faces are still happening. So.
It's a flicker of blood-bonded interest from Britta.
Hello?
Hello? Miles speaking.
How can I help you?
Yes, I would like to talk to Prince Roland's if possible.
Of course. One moment, please.
Thank you.
I have to just look around. Hello? Miles, is this you? Are you in Boston?
Yes, I'm in Boston, Prince.
How is it going there? Have you completed the task?
We're well on our way, but it would be helpful if you could tell me the date that Arabella was embraced. It would help my Malkavian.
April 2nd, 1932.
Very good. We will hope to get this all wrapped up quite soon.
How soon are we talking here? Miles, this needs to be done right away.
Yes.
You can't call me for wasting both of our times with this.
I understand. This is the fastest way to do it, otherwise I wouldn't bother your grace.
Good. Ta-ta.
Thank you.
Hangs up.
Oh my god.
I come back in, breathe out. April 2nd, 1932.
Oh.
She's old.
Oh, okay. That's super helpful. And Neil just kind of sits down on the floor and pulls like his little book
I wonder if you
out of
waited a day.
his fanny pack and just starts looking through like star charts and stuff.
So she wouldn't be an April Fool's child.
Knowing that while we're waiting, he'll take 10 minutes to not use horoscope, but to conduct the ritual astral portent to figure out what the most some of the big influences in her life are right now. Or rather, I guess the most powerful forces at work in her life. I only got one success.
With one success, you become aware that the most important thing in her life right now is a cloven hoof.
So Neil sits down and is just looking at like star charts and comparing them, and occasionally will like go over to the window and look out at the night sky to try and look at the current stars, and then is like cross-referencing them with the book from like, oh, what are the stars at like 1932, and just going back and forth. It takes him about 10 or 15 minutes, and eventually he sort of folds the charts back up into the little book and tucks it back into his fanny pack, like a tourist folding a map back up. And he's very awkward about folding maps. Well, that wasn't as helpful as I thought it would be, sorry.
You better give me something. I just made that call.
Well, look, so the portents and the signs that she's under right now, it's tough to read. I mean, my maps are, I've been working on them for a while. I don't know. All I got was a cloven hoof. That doesn't mean anything to me.
She's an Aries.
Can I make a occult roll?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a goat sign, isn't it?
Occult intelligence?
Yes, indeed.
Botch.
Oof.
You are rather certain that this is some sort of animal reference. And it can mean maybe something with livestock. Or maybe she too sacrifices bulls.
I mean, cloven hooves are... Animals have cloven hooves. Maybe she's...
Only certain types of animals, though.
I didn't say
I
all
want to
animals.
make an occult check as well, because I do have a occult on my sheet.
Like a goat?
Yeah, you might actually be onto something with
One
Aries.
success.
With one success, you actually remember Kabir telling you that there was a group that was after him and he needed to lay low for a while. And you put him up. They were called the Order of the Cloven Hoof. And they were one of the 3 witch covens in search of something and drama, and they all have a beef with each other. They're all connected in some way.
You said a cloven hoof?
Yeah, I think Miles actually might be onto something with that Aries thing.
Kabir mentioned a cloven foot one time. It was some witch coven. They were on his tail for some stupid thing. I think he He used his chemistry to piss off the wrong person. Anyhow,
Sounds about right.
yeah, I needed to put him up while he was running from them. I think he said that they were one of 3 different witch covens. Order of the Cloven Hoof. Yeah.
Okay, well, if she's after the Codex, that kind of makes sense, right? Because Raven is also after it. She said she was in a witch coven.
Yeah.
Was Raven in that one?
Can I make, like, just an intelligence roll to see if I can remember Raven saying things about this?
Yes.
2 successes.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's an Aries sign. She's stubborn, fiery. I mean, it's all the signs are there.
So what you would know about Raven, she actually doesn't discuss it very much, but you do know that she was once one of 5 apostles who were loyal to a circle of wizards and witches. And when glorious leaders died, there ended up being a split. One group kept the Codex and were doing a lot of dark deeds, and she was one of the 5 who tried to keep true to the beliefs of the coven, and the 2 groups ended up in conflict with one another. Ultimately, her coven was forced out of Salem, and after, some unfortunate events took place among the locals, it is actually around then that she was embraced. Raven is a member of, is not completely clear, a member of a group called the Order of the Twisted Horn.
She was not in Cloven Hoof. She was a member of Twisted Horn. But there was a split amongst...
Both groups are actually descended from another. The Cloven Hoof did not exist yet. This group, the original group, the one from which the Codex comes from, is the Golden Dawn.
So there was one group, the Golden Dawn, and then Twisted Horn split from that, and then eventually Cloven Hoof broke from that.
Okay.
And Raven was Twisted Horn.
Cloven Hoof and Twisted Horn. I'm with Miles on the goat thing at this point. Unless they're running around having congress with the devil. Right? Isn't that what the people say witches do? They have like sex with the devil or something?
That's one of the things they say witches do.
I'm aware of this Baphomet character. That's pretty popular.
I think I saw that on a metal t-shirt.
That's pretty much where I know it from, too.
Being that you're someone that paints blood sigils onto windows
That's a
and
different
absconds
thing.
off to the Middle East,
A
I think you should.
totally
I think you
different
should give this a little bit more gravitas than you are.
I'm not giving it gravitas. Why do you think I'm not giving it gravitas?
I think it's because you're giving me too much credit.
Well, you're talking about. I agree with Miles about the goat thing. And that it's a heavy metal T-shirts.
Well, no, I haven't seen Baphomet and any of that kind of stuff, but yes, a lot of the things that I do in theory are related to,
I wouldn't say
ancient
that
gods and
Baphomet is immediately counted into this.
And names mean so little, it feels like, in this society. Even the names of our clans, right? It could be symbolic for something completely different. It could be symbolic for... It seems like a pitfall.
Well, I don't want to get that twisted. Names with a capital N absolutely do have power.
Anyways, I was just thinking myths and legends come from somewhere. So
No, I don't know.
So the Baphomet character might not be the actual one, but it might be the basis for whatever this is.
Or
maybe not.
it's
right.
sacrificial. Mithras had a bull, and that was all related to... Anyways, what I'm saying is I'm not giving it credit and credence here. It's just I don't know enough about witches, I guess.
Yeah, this sounds like mortal magic too.
Their mortal magic is a thing.
Well, that's news to me.
Blood magic had to come from somewhere.
But we're talking about a group of witches specifically that are kindred. These covens were chasing Kabir. They apparently have had Raven amongst their members, and now it seems that Arabella Rollins has been ensnared within this cult.
So,
and for all we know, they could be worshipping a demon or something.
So that's
a big leap to make.
Well, I don't even know if that's a big leap to make. I think it's just sometimes people think you worship demons and they are just a different thing.
Look, I'm trying to keep an open mind about blood sorcery, but anytime I hear it, that's where my mind goes.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate how you could have that perspective.
I think
need to get in touch with Raven.
I was about to suggest that. I think this is about the time that, since we're waiting anyways, maybe you can call a bird, send a bird messenger.
That's the plan.
What about our friend?
I don't understand. I was watching a YouTube old YouTube videos. Remember the old X-Men You're Fired?
Yes, Peter Holmes.
Pete Holmes. So me and Rebecca were watching it, and we commented that Pete Holmes as Xavier is actually really similar to Miles. Like with touch of mind control and all of that. And there's this moment where he's talking to Angel, who's like, "You fucking bird!" and Miles said that shit in the exact same tone.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, he
And
did.
we had both been thinking it, and I was the one who said it, but we were both like, there was no hesitation from Lex.
It was really good.
And like, I was not ready for like in the same weekend. This was like Friday. For Tim to be like, "You fucking bird, call the fucking bird."
That was the time when you call a bird.
So I just need a second. I'm really sorry for derailing. Fucking bird.
I'm sorry, I'll try to channel Pete Holmes.
Please,
No,
and on
channel
your way out,
Pete Holmes
please
more.
try not to shit on my car. Fucking bird.
Oh, no, now I'm going to watch these again.
That was it. My bad.
It sounds like this whole call was worth a call to Roland's at least, so win in my book.
Well, thanks, Miles.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm going to go find a bird and see if I can get in touch with Raven.
Should I call Kabir?
Yeah, that could be helpful.
Why are we calling Kabir? Oh, about the...
Ask him anything he
Right.
knows about the cloven hoof.
Sorry, I just got worried. It's a rough nose. It just puts me on edge.
Boom, boom, boom. The door knocks.
Guess that'll be put on
You guys ready to go?
Am I reclaiming this guy or not?
No.
hold. We're ready to go. Somebody, like, jimmies the door open, I guess.
Yeah, Johnny will go over and open the door. How's it going, Sully?
How's it going? He looks at you, and there's like 6 dudes with him. Are you and your friends ready to go? You got some shit in your hair.
Yeah. I didn't bring a change of pants either.
Oh yeah, I forgot that too.
Sorry, we made a mess in your city here.
Not my city, but what the it starts to really kind of get him how much blood is everywhere. The floor's completely flooded. There's scorch marks all over the place.
Hell of a welcoming committee.
Don't fucking put that on us.
No, didn't mean you.
We don't.
These 3, he motions towards the floor, tried to burn the place down, and then were ready to jump us once we started fleeing out of the building. Unfortunately, we managed to put out the flames, and I got the jump on them.
Alright. Then, who's this fucking guy?
This one here,
He
motioned
points at the one alive.
We killed 2 of them, and said we left 1 alive. But I was scared this one was going to die before you got here, so I gave him a bit of my vitae. We asked him a couple of questions, and we think that he's working for Arabella Rowlands.
Do you get what you need out of him?
We got what we could out of him, ready to hand him over to you, and if the domain wants to try and get what they can out of him.
His mind has been messed with.
Compromised? Alright, don't need him. He turns to one of the guys, kind of like gives this quick motion. That guy pulls out a garrote and starts approaching the captive.
Just so you know, and like Neil is not looking at cold murder. It just it still bothers him. Just so you know, you got a couple of dozen of those around the city. It seems like.
Fucking humans?
No, people compromised by Arabella.
Good to know.
Just from one friendly domain to another.
Yeah.
If we get out of this meeting with any time to spare, if you could bring us to the place where you found that burned body left by Arabella, that would help us get on her trail.
We can definitely do that.
Very good.
Thank you.
The Rotana kind of grabs this like soul by the hair and just drags him into the next room, and then shuts the door.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, my guys are going to clean this place up. Are you driving yourself out, or are you going to need a ride?
We should probably check the car to make sure it's not compromised.
Let's get a ride for now. It might be the fastest way. If we could stop at like some place that I don't want to enter into court with this. I don't think the prince would appreciate it.
I don't know that he's going to give a fuck. He's either really going to be really pissed off, or he's going to not notice at all.
All right, I'll let you.
It's pretty much a coin toss.
Sure.
I wouldn't. You're going to want to go with your idea, because the other end of the coin toss is that he flips out and has it killed.
Right.
So
yeah, take us to someplace appropriate, please.
yeah, sounds good. All right. So why don't you all head outside and get yourselves comfortable, and I'll make sure everything's done here, and we can go ahead and get you over to court.
Much appreciated, Sullivan.
Thank you for the ride and all.
Neil is already leaving the apartment because a murder is happening in there.
Britta's making sure everyone's got their stuff and flinching a bit, but moving forward.
Sullivan does not seem fazed about ordering the execution of that person.
My hard case bag and everything else.
Johnny grabs his duffel bag and walks past, heading out. It gives kind of like one of those hard, knowing stares at Sullivan as he walks by.
It's kind of like this look of acknowledgement, like a nod.
Wynn grabs her bag and makes sure that, all of her stuff is packed up and follows with the group.
You guys get outside, and there's a couple cabs. There are mortal throngs everywhere. People are kind of having a good time. Real loud, it's cold, but, people are having fun. The group of you are able to hop into cabs. Where are you having them go, Miles?
If you're taking us to like someplace to buy a shit ton of nice clothes, like new things,
If we want to call a hotel and grab a room, that might make sense to just throw our gear in like a room in a hotel. Like maybe use their shower and like some towels to clean off and change it into some new clothes.
So you guys can do that. I can pick up clothes for you, because I don't want to make the prince wait
And
longer.
it doesn't have to be anything fancy.
You get them a nice downtown hotel.
Yeah, I can get that all set up. So because I don't want to spend forever doing this, so I can quite easily.
So you're going to shop for clothes.
Right.
Everyone's going to take showers and get cleaned up at the hotel. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. You are able to do all of these things without incident.
it's always nice to hear.
Yep.
We all hold our breath.
Eventually, you're able to meet back at the new hotel room. Sullivan kind of drops a phone call, lets you guys know that it's time to go.
Now you guys all look like professionals.
Neil does not wear his tie-dye t-shirt under the nice clothes you buy him.
That's why you have a very dark shirt over on top of it. Maybe an all black affair for you.
Wow.
Johnny's dressed in all Red Sox gear.
Is it possible while Miles is shopping and someone else is showering that Wynn could
Find a pigeon.
find a pigeon?
Yeah.
She tries to not be obvious about it, but she, beckons a pigeon and starts speaking to the pigeon as in pigeon. Says, "Do you know who Raven is?
Pigeon does not.
There is a woman called Raven, and I need you to find her." And she gives a description of Raven, tells her which direction to fly in order to find her, and tells her to look for Raven the bird.
What message do you give?
What you seek is in Boston.
Pigeon takes off.
And Wynn heads back into the hotel room and kind of sits and waits for... It's unlikely the pigeon's going to be back anytime soon. She kind of sits and contemplates Johnny's behavior since they woke up and decides she needs to have a chat with him. It's not terribly urgent, but it is important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Is anyone else taking care of anything before you guys head to meet with the prince?
Probably just rinses his hair out in the sink and dries off all of the grime off him with like a towel, like a wet towel, and just calls that close enough for jazz before putting on the new clothes. So he's actually probably one of the people who's ready first.
I'm actually pretty clean apart from washing my hands more.
Even though he probably doesn't need it, if we're given the time, Neil 100% takes a shower.
Okay.
So for this scene, I want you guys to picture Neil badly singing Blue Oyster Cult songs throughout your entire conversation.
Yeah. Johnny, let's go have a smoke.
All right. Johnny pops up and follows Wynn.
Wynn kind of goes outside the hotel room door, kind of makes sure the hallway is clear. They head outside, actually, because they're going to be smoking.
Yep.
And she just kind of gives him a long look.
Johnny lights 2 cigarettes and passes her one.
Thanks, man. I don't think that guy's the only one who got his brain scrambled in that fight, Johnny.
His eyebrows both kind of pop up cocked, like, damn, they're just cutting to the chase.
I'm not going to beat around the bush with you. I respect you too much for that.
It was a rough night.
Yeah, I can tell. Johnny, we can't both, we're the ones who give the hitting, we can't both be me. We can't both be the monsters.
Wynn, first of all, you're not a monster. And look, this is what happens to people that do work like us.
I know. But you weren't fighting it. You were given into it.
I've been fighting it for a long time.
I know. And it's exhausting.
This year, if it keeps going the way it's been going, I don't know what I'm going to look like on the other side of it. We started things off with finding this doe-eyed girl in an alley who had just been embraced, having feasted upon another girl because she couldn't control her shit. I don't get cases like that a lot, but that should have just told me what a shit year this is going to be. And then we had everything happen between the bear and the house with the Xantosa. I embraced that shithead. There was the werewolf. We thought we lost Neil. There's weird things creeping around the city these days. Zombies. Now we're fighting amongst the Camarilla itself. Trying to pick sides between the Gemini League and the Operation Longbow. And then 3 punks decided they could just burn us alive in our sleep. And Britta looked at me and asked me to save her. And yeah, something just snapped inside.
Yeah. I remember when I lost it too.
But you know what? I feel a lot better now that I just kind of let go of that part.
Yeah, I don't like that though. And I think you deserve to know that I'm not going to let you go down that path.
All right.
I need you to be better than me. Because I'll tell you right now, it doesn't bother me that they're strangling that kid.
Doesn't bother me either.
I know. But I need you to pretend it bothers you. I need you to be you. I can't let you lose yourself to this.
Johnny takes a long drag on his cigarette, almost down to the filter, drops it, puts it out with his boot. I'm not going to get better for your sake, so you can go down the rabbit hole. But I'll make you a promise. And he kind of looks at you square in the eyes. You keep your chin above the water, and I'll do the same. And both you and I together are going to make it through this fucking year.
I think that's the best the best offer I've had all year.
He puts his hand out for a shake.
Wynn does the same. She kind of bonks his forehead with hers.
And gives her a quick smile. Let's go back in and get the rest of these clowns. Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the classic world of darkness. Britta Ashcroft the Toreador was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Johnny Saxon the Bruja was played by Garrett Gabbey. Miles Davenport the Ventru was played by Tim Davis. Neil Foster the Malkavian was played by Rob Muirhead. Wynn Cabot the Gangrel was played by Erika Webb. Your storyteller was Lex Lopez. Recording by Rebecca Steigelfest. This episode was edited by Rob Muirhead. The music used in this episode was January Grunge Love Fest by Technoaxe. Visit them online at technoaxe.com. Path of Night uses the 20th anniversary edition rule set of Vampire the Masquerade with a few limited house rules. Vampire the Masquerade is owned by Paradox Interactive. Make sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at Path of Night Pod, on Facebook at facebook.com/Path of Night Podcast, or email us at pathofnightpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time, Kindred.
I feel like Roland's hung up. I was like, oh, I said ta-ta.
Roland's is Alec Baldwin from 30 Rock. He's like, I don't know how to stand. I don't know how to stand with, like, I should have a
What do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
My God, I'm never going to be picturing anything other than alcohol.
I mean,
fucking amazing.
Alec Baldwin as Prince Rollins is kind of amazing casting choice.
Yeah, it suddenly makes him a little bit more likable, which I don't know if I like, but at the same time, I.
It kind of clicks.
I can appreciate it.
Wait, what do you mean? He's really likable.
Oh, boy.
Well,
Just like Wynn and Miles.
Miles, you can't just call me for random dates.
it wasn't random.
It was very specific.
Right.
I was chuckling because I was thinking about Rollins being played by Alec Baldwin during 30 Rock, which then I started thinking about oh God, what's his name? Will Arnett, who played his rival business guy,
Right.
with a goatee, being fucking Reese. Miles, did you want to learn magic from me? Too bad.
It's even worse with Will
You
Arnett.
gotta grovel first.
I'll fill your butts with thaumaturgy.
Oh, that's not where I want thaumaturgy.
All right.
If you grovel at my feet, maybe I'll give you your boy Joey back.
Oh, eat a dick.
I won't eat a dick. I'll make you eat a dick.
I will not eat 1 iota of dick.
Thaumaturgy. Alchemy.